For both Travel and some of our other sister companies that were here as exhibitors. And I'm not going to only speak about Travel, so it's not going to be a commercial only about this, but a little bit about this mysterious thing called the internet. And as the title you can see is how you compete on the internet. I'll tell you a little bit about how the internet has changed, where it's going, and what you need to have in your toolkit or your tool belt in order to succeed. So I hope that this will be a simplistic explanation. Technology sometimes is a foreign language for some of us, and I'll try to make it in layman's terms how this complex thing called the internet has evolved and continues to evolve. The basis is, how do you compete? Well, you need to be on the internet. That's already a given. But how do you compete in this world of the haves and have-nots? You're all familiar with Google. If you have taken a peek at a Google page recently, you probably see up at the top there's maybe 2 or 3 shaded companies. Typically, what I refer to as the haves, the Expedias, the Hiltons, the larger name brands. And they're also on the right-hand side. Those are called sponsored positioning. They've paid for those, and they are very, very expensive, and those are the people or companies that you're competing against. How can you compete against those companies is the question. And one of those ways is to have a website that has fresh, updatable content with relevant information that is what I call sticky, that it has videos, pictures, interactive comments, and blogs. As I've been talking, the internet has evolved from its first stage to where we are now, which is about the second stage, and guess what? It's going into its third and definitely not final stage relatively shortly. Web 1.0 was that static page, only copy, very few pictures. We're currently in 2.0, which is becoming more interactive, that your customers and clients are commenting about your experiences. They're maybe even uploading pictures and videos of their experiences. And now this Web 3.0 is where people are doing this now by mobile phone, that we're having Wi-Fi, that will be shortly like what we have cell phones, that we have cell phone towers throughout the country. Guess what? There's going to be Wi-Fi that way. So if you think internet is important now, it's going to just only become even more and more important. Perform well in search engines. Now, the internet's been around for about 25 years, and I don't believe that it had the roadwork or organizational structure prior to launch, and it was really wild, wild west. One of the solutions as to making this a more, efficient and organized information source is that they're starting to have category-specific internet extensions. And you've probably seen over the course of the last few years, .edu for educational facilities, .gov for government facilities, .org for, I would say, any organization, but it's been kind of slanted towards the non-for-profit organization. And now, even in countries outside, not only the US, but outside of the US, that are looking for content specifically or words specifically in their own language. So you'll see in France that people are using .fr, in Germany .de. This organization of the internet is what I consider restructuring it like an information source that I used when I was in school, a library. I knew where to find something because it was categorized by the content. So I think this is rather interesting that the organization structure was not in place before launch, but I think that this is a step in the right direction. So with Web 0.0, Web 2.0 is coming upon Web 3.0, what still hasn't changed? You're still a people-focused business. That's number one, but people need to find you. Whether that be through the internet or other sources, you need to have multiple channels of finding these consumers. The web is becoming more and more cluttered. We know that. You've probably done searches yourselves. 0.2 seconds, 8 million results. How do you know where to go for that information? Search engines are doing well, but it's very difficult to classify your information. And what hasn't changed is that you have a way to market yourself as a travel professional on the internet in the travel channel, and that is .travel. .travel is done very well on the internet in 3 major categories. .travel is very clear. It is specific. It explains your business to a T. It is not an abbreviation. It is not generic like .com. It says what it really is. You also have great name flexibility. As we're rather new, you have the ability to have your own business's name in your domain name. You could have www.yourbusiness or yourcompany.travel. And the third and final thing that is how you're going to find more clients, how you're going to reach more bookings, is significant search engine results. That means that people are going to find you in Google, they're going to find you in MSN, and the reason why is because how many millions of times a month does someone, when they're looking for travel, put in that Google search bar, travel, that word. Travel to Cancun, cheap travel, travel deals. And if you have that in your website address, you're already matching one of the criteria and the first criteria that these search engines are looking for. So a little bit about .travel, if you haven't already kind of put this together, that it is something related to the internet, it has something to do with my identity on the internet. It is an internet extension specifically for your industry. You can use it for websites, blogs, emails. There's no need to be communicating from your professional capacity with a yahoo.com, a comcast.net, AOL.com. You can now have your business name .travel as your email address. It's used by organizations throughout the world, travel media, travel organizations, destinations, and the largest group of people that are holders of .travel are actually travel agents. So maybe you haven't seen us, but I'll show you a couple of our largest supporters. Here's just showing that actually Google recognizes .travel and .travel well. I put on here at least 2 destinations that have been on board with .travel from the get-go, both the country of Canada and the state of Utah. You're seeing that in the Google search bar, out of all the millions and millions of sites that are out there, whether they're .net, .biz, .gov, .com, you're seeing that Canada.travel is ranking #1. You're seeing Utah.travel is ranking #1 because someone is looking for destination-specific travel information. It makes sense.